order the Park and Commission meeting September 14th. This meeting is being held hybrid, according with the and so we have 4 of our commissioners on site and 1 participating remotely. I'd like to start the meeting with a couple of a little bit of information, particularly to our commissioners. Obviously, hope everybody had a great summer. I want to thank you for making an effort to get in here in person. As a lot of you may know, we've been remote for some time now. And during our remote meetings, Commissioner Stevens and Tolson were appointed to the commission, and I myself was appointed as chair, Dave as vice chair, and now we have our newest appointee, Jose, who just joined us. And so I felt like this was the perfect time to work together on setting out some new guidelines for our commission in relation to our meetings. I think this is a new season for us as a new team, and or at least getting together for the first time in person. No different than we do on Zoom. But so it's a new situation, and that being said, I look forward to work with professional staff and their participation by the process. And just want to remind you, the commission is appointed as a policy-making voting body. But more importantly, we're here to provide professional staff. We each bring our own individual perspectives to the commission, but we share or should share the same goal of offering guidance to the staff and representing the voice of the residents. And so, in like that, one of the things that we really need to keep in mind, because we have had a lot of discussions on a lot of different initiatives recently, is the capital improvement plan, the CIP, which identifies the different phases, the different plans, ADA transition plan, direct plan, and attempts to match them with funding. And it also is reflected the priorities of the mayor and city council, and they're the ones where our professional staff focuses on things that have been approved by the mayor and city council. So please keep in mind, as we talk with residents or as we bring things forward, that funding is more or less what drives it. And if we have to keep that in mind, it's really important. If you maybe excited about it a little bit. The other thing I'd like to do is, as chair of the commission, 2 goals that I would, main goal is to really respect our commissioners' time and professional staff time, and really try to make sure that we're optimizing the time here at the meeting. So I want to suggest 2 strategies that our vice chair, Mr. Gajeko, brought to my attention that I think we should implement, that I'd really like to do, which is basically enforce a time limit. There's some meetings in the past have gone on, and that's great. And there are times when that might just happen. But what I would like to do is that we plan for an hour meeting, and at 8 o'clock, depending where we are on our agenda, that we vote at that time. And that way, if somebody has something to get to or whatever, we're just going to be respecting everybody's time. So we asked the commissioners then would vote, and we would decide, to extend it for another half hour. If it goes past that, then we vote to extend it. But at least this way, we're all on the same page. And also, we always want the commissioners to share ideas. We had our little thing added on where our commissioners can bring something to the table. And as the commissioners might bring something to the table, I ask that we take those new topics and post them to the agenda of the next meeting. Because sometimes.
Yeah, just to be clear, I'm just asking here to slow down the talking and have people talk one at a time in this room. I'm getting some feedback that the sound is not great.
Okay.
So that's why I moved to the speaker.
Okay. Okay, so basically we're gonna have the time limit, which we're gonna vote. And then the second thing is, as we share new ideas through the meeting or at the end of the meeting, I'm asking that those ideas, we bring them forward or put them forward to our next agenda. A lot of times there could be topics that could then be addressed by the professional staff in the meantime, and just a report
present it at the next meeting. But just to kind of try to keep things on track a little bit more. And as I said, we will definitely discuss the item, but just a way to economize our time, I guess you would say. And that's about it. We appreciate everybody's time, but I just really want to be respectful of it. Any commissioners, are you guys interested in considering working this way, or?
Actually, you're the chair, and it's basically how we're running the meeting. It's perfectly fine.
Okay, we're all good? Okay, Commissioner Stevens, any comments?
No.
Okay, thank you very much. So we'll go ahead on. The next topic is approval of minutes. I've been able to review them. They look good to me. Gentlemen, anybody have any comments on them, or? I know, from June, it seems like a lifetime ago.
No, I think they look fine. I make a motion that we accept the minutes.
I'll second it.
Okay, good. Minutes are accepted. Do we need to do roll call even though we're still in the room?
I would,
Okay,
we're not all in the room.
Yeah, we're in the meeting where we have to do roll call.
I'm sorry.
Open meeting law requires that you do roll call if not everybody is present.
Roll call, yes. Oh, we're doing alphabetical, so we have to figure that back out again. GH, you're
I'll
first.
be first.
See you as far as the,
Kadeko, yes.
oh, yeah.
Oh.
Oh, A, B, C, D, E, F.
It doesn't matter.
So you're first, you're second, okay.
Okay, yes.
Oh, yes,
Shane.
there it is.
I'll make a suggestion that roll call from now when you ask.
I will.
Just say, Kadeko, and I'll say yes.
Good.
Yeah.
Colton?
Steven.
Oh, Shannon?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Colton?
Yeah.
Thank you. We had alphabetical down before, but now it's the Birmingham.
Someone left.
Okay,
Yeah.
and really quick, I meant to add to my remarks, we'd like to thank Mr. Berman, for his years of service on the commission. He stepped away, and now we have Jose, but I didn't even say that earlier. Public participation, do we have anybody on for public?
Yes, that would be me. My name's Presley, and I'm president of Framborg and also a small dog park visitor. I wanted to say the dog park has been great since its opening in July, and I'm so excited to have it as a place and a resource for local pet owners to meet. And everybody's been really excited, and the vast majority of stories and interactions that I've heard have been overwhelmingly positive. That being said, we've recognized a need for more prominent signage to reinforce some of the rules around safety, like where to unleash dogs, and also to reinforce to not bring treats and toys into the dog park. So Frambark would like to provide some signs for the park to echo some of the rules that are posted out front before you enter the park. And we'd be willing to design and pay for these, but of course I'd like to understand what the requirements would be for us to be able to do that, or to partner with the city to do that. I also wanted to highlight that the signage out front does have an incorrect rule on it as far as where to unleash your dogs. So I think with correcting that sign and having some additional signage, we'd be able to correct that. Some dog owners are bringing their pets in with their leashes on, which is a safety issue. And it's hard to correct it when the rules aren't accurate. But that being said, I think with correcting the signage, having additional signage, it would be really better for all, dog park users to have that. And then I also wanted to note that the small dog park does have a gap under one of the fences that some pets have escaped through. So I definitely wanted to call that to the attention of the group to correct. And then last point that I have is in October, we're hoping to partner with Keep Framingham Beautiful and coordinate a cleanup around the dog park. I guess the entire Farm Pond Park, and also within the dog park. So I was curious if there was an opportunity to close the dog park for 2 hours on a Saturday in October. So volunteers could get into the park and do any leaf cleanup or any pet waste cleanup, you know, in celebration of making Framingham beautiful.
So do you want to address some of the concerns on signage or whatnot?
Sure. Thank you. We were just moving the speaker to, you can hear. Actually, did you have a question, Steve?
My comment is that it's all good information, but
Yeah.
pretty much they should be talking directly to you.
Right.
Right, so, well, that was gonna be my recommendation, would be for Frambark and I to meet. I know we had talked about meeting in August, roughly a month after the opening. Vacations, different schedules, you know, things, I think came up, so that meeting didn't necessarily materialize. But I think certainly at this point, yeah, we should sit down and meet and discuss how Parks and Recreation Department and Frambark will, you know, what that relationship looks like going forward. Especially with kind of the changeover in leadership there. So, yeah, let's carve out some time, you know, this week or next. You know, then we can go over the signage. I can have park maintenance superintendent who's here now go over and take a look at the gap more immediately to address that. And then, you know, as far as the cleanup, I meet with Keep Framingham Beautiful, you know, every month or so. And so they talk about all the wonderful cleanups and things that they're doing in all of our parks. So yeah, we'll certainly work with them as well. You know, there is an option to close a park, you know, some people may not agree with that as they go and have taken time to go to the park and they find it locked. You know, we may want to pick sort of an off prime time to do that. But I think when we have our meeting, we can talk about what our parks maintenance staff is doing and what Keep Framingham Beautiful can do and what Frambark can do.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Anybody else in the public? No?
Hi.
Oh, I'm sorry. We have like a slide, just go back and forth.
We're working, it's a work in progress.
Yeah,
You know, this is what the step up from what we had. There's still room for improvement.
I think there's somebody else in the public want to speak?
Yes, there's actually two more after me, but I just want to say good evening. My name is Ashley. I'm the founder and president of Freedom H2O, and one of the important highlights of this, our goal and mission, is kind of just bringing a splash pad to different sectors in Framingham. And kind of like in our plan, we hope to collaborate with the mayor and Parks and Recreation and in our community and overall. But we're not expecting like the mayor, Parks, or in rec to coordinate research or raise money or anything like that. We have a pretty clear of like where Mary Dennison Park stands, and along with like the 5-year plan for the other existing parks. But we as in a community will like some clarity around when this will happen, such as like what is the status now, and the expected like estimate date that it will be completed. The Mary Dennison Park, more specifically like with the splash pad, that element is a little bit too like small, like the design looks a little bit too small. So kind of just seeing if there is any way to collaborate on coming up with like a better design, a reasonable design as well. In order for us to gather like helpful information, we would like to like request some information regarding to like how many public parks have water source pipes, any working ones, and requesting if we can get a list of that sent to like our email, which is
So I think maybe in the interest of time this is you have some really good questions, and the professional staff would be able to help you directly with that if you want to send, would it be one of the gyms in the email?
Well, it sounds like you have multiple questions that, have, somewhat complex answers. So, if you could send me a list of the questions, I will tell you this is kind of a brief update. Is that the mayor has heard the need for a splash pad and certainly supports it. I've been working with the CFO and the CIP. I know those are different acronyms. The CIP is the capital improvement plan. That's basically, you know, the map for the city on what projects can get done where. And so in the short term, we have included some splash pad elements, and we're going to continue to do that in some of the playground. We did it with the Reardon Park design. We did it with the Mary Dennison design, and we continue to work on various parts. Arlington Street is a design that we're working on right now. So, you know, the bigger idea of kind of a destination splash pad takes a little more work. We need to figure out, just like with the dog park, the proper location, what amenities are around it. We also have a need for a pool. If you haven't heard the news, to keep pool closed. So that displaced a number of our swim teams. So we are looking, as we always do, at kind of a comprehensive approach to how we do that. If we build a splash pad, it would probably make sense to build a pool pretty close by, right, or next to it, so that they could share, you know, rooms, a locker room. There's also, you know, again, this is very early, but these are ideas of trying to do a community center at some point, and maybe it all ties into community center flat bed pool. So it is on the radar. We do have a number of projects that I'll get into for fiscal year 23, but certainly looking into, you know, the flat pad. It's a little, Mary Dennison, I'm sorry, I'm answering all the questions now, but Mary Dennison is a little more complex because that is an environmental cleanup site, and we can only do so much with moving the earth around in that site. So the design that we have is the one that we've sort of settled on as we go in and work with Avery Dennison and the parties that are involved. There's also a number of factors that the DEP have considered in the design as well. So, you know, there might be certainly an opportunity to include more amenities in the future. And like I said, we're going to be looking at in all of our park designs how to include some of those things. I don't know if that addresses some of your questions. If there's more in-depth questions, separate from the discussion portion of the program here, I'm happy to take up some time if you want to give me a call or whatever, set up a time to meet. I'm happy to kind of walk you through that.
Thank you.
Okay, great. Thank you, Ashley. Next person.
Hi, my name is Gina Balzano. Thank you so much for having this meeting tonight. It's exciting to be here on a night of kind of new starts for a new season of this committee. And I thank you all for being public servants and helping us in Framingham. I am with Ashley from the splash pad group that you're just going to get to know our faces, or our little black squares, as the case may be. But I just wanted to, and I don't expect answers because I understand that public comment is just supposed to be 2 minutes of me talking, and then you can choose to address it or not. So I'm not looking for a granular answer, but I would like to raise it in public comment that I'm wondering about the particulars of Mary Dennison. And I'm curious to know the cause of the holdup is, if it's just environmental, if it is, you know, arbitration with attorneys, and who is ultimately responsible, and who could I reach out to on a granular, personal level as a constituent to gain more information, because I know you have quite an agenda tonight and I don't expect you to respond to this, but I would like to know how to move forward with getting more information about where that park and its, you know, creation, development, and environmental impact goes from here. Thank you so much.
Sure, happy to do that. Give me a call during the day if you want. Just call the main office line, and I'm happy to talk to you about some of the.
If you put your email in, and I could set up a time with you to call. If you put your email in the chat, I could do that and then not disrupt your meeting any further. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Thank you, Gina. And thank you for respecting the time. Anybody else on there?
Yep. Hi, this is Liz Caprillion. Some people know me, some don't. So my name is Liz Caprillion. I live at 275 Singletary Lane in Framingham, about 2.5 miles away from Washacom Beach. I'm a member of the Coburnville Tripoli Neighborhood Association, CTNA, and a supporter of the Washacom Pond Association. And since mid-May, as some of the committee know, I've been acting as sort of a volunteer steward over at the Washacom Beach property. And so those gates were opened in May 22nd. And then since then, there's been a mission of volunteers like myself to kind of ensure a really positive visitor experience for those that go to Washacum Beach. And because the property had been shut down for a while, that meant some extra work to improve things on the site. And so, you know, I know Elaine knows this. I've cleaned up a lot of goose poop during this season. And we've been doing other things like checking for trash and weeding and removing moss and sweeping sideways and stuff. So we actually have some numbers to kind of give to you guys just to make sure folks were aware. So in the time frame of May 22nd through today, which is about a 79 or 80 day period, people at the beach, 991. 627 were noted by lifeguards, and an additional 364 were noted by neighborhood volunteers. For goose poop at that beach, 576 pounds is what I removed from that beach, and probably the lifeguards removed, I would say probably another 100 pounds. 30 pounds was removed the morning of the first outdoor adventure clinic. I removed that so that those kids would have a good experience. Water quality tests, there were 19. They started in early May and ended with the final test taken in the last week of August. Plastic fencing was put up and it had broke 6 times. So the fencing was put up on either side of the bathhouse, and within 2 weeks of each of those installations, they were broken. And then vandals pulled down the entire left side twice. I would estimate I put in about 80 hours of poop cleanup, and that the lifeguards probably put in 10 to 15 hours. And that for property stewardship hours of other things, I probably put in about 70 hours. So for the official beach season, which I believe was 6/16 to 8/11, so 57, 58 days or so. When you look at how many beach closures there were within the beach season itself due to water quality issues, Washacum only had 1 day that it was closed during the official season. Learned was closed for 4 and Saxonville 5. Obviously, there were closures beyond the season, but within the season, that's where that ended up. Total lifeguards that were on duty at Washacum during the beach season was 23 days, which would be 40% of the total beach season. But weekend days where lifeguards were on duty, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, that only had 8 days of coverage. So that was 29% of the total beach season weekend days. So roughly 1 out of 3 was your chance of having a guard on duty at Washacum Beach on any given weekend during the season. But, you know, I mean, I'm so happy that I've spent the 4 months prior to this, you know, looking over things. And, you know, based on those observations of being there almost every day, you know, I had a few thoughts for you guys. You know, when it comes to reducing the goose poop and the managing the geese, I know Elaine has spent a lot of time, you know, working with Washacum Pond Association on this as well. You know, my recommendations are to keep the ribbons and the spinners, and after 4 weeks, add some fishing line, to change the fencing on the left side to be chicken wire or something more equivalent to that can kind of take a beating a little bit better and be more difficult to destroy, to change the swim buoy line to be all buoys with no rope so that the waterfowl can't hop over, ditch the coyote decoys. Those were completely ignored by the geese. And it may be time to consider a goose poop cleanup service. Now that you know you've done almost everything you can think of to keep the geese off the beach, it's true they will still get to the beach at some point, and you're going to need prompt removal of that stuff. And that's how I think they ended up with better water quality this season at Washacum, was simply, you know, you got almost like 600 pounds of poop that just didn't get into the ecosystem. In general, I think you need sand. There's just a complete lack of sand on this property. I guess in the past it used to get added. It didn't this season. You're down to like dirt in certain areas, which is causing more erosion there, and a lot of weed action as well. The handicap porta potty should probably be there as early as June 1 and be there like to the 1st of October. And the beach wheelchair should be there at the beginning of the season. And you really need to get rid of those invasive lily pads, which are now completely taking over on the right side of the beach shoreline. And, you know, it's just completely throwing away that part of the beach area. I would recommend drop the fencing on the right. So I want to thank everybody that has helped, and Parks has done a great job in partnering in the last 4 months. And I just say that when the goal is a positive visitor experience, that definitely clarifies the approaches on the property, which in those approaches in turn help support the water quality. So thanks for letting me present this. And again, thank you so much for your partnership in the last 4 months. It's been great to work at the beach for a while.
Thank you so very much. Glad to hear that you've been working with Elaine, so I'm sure Elaine's aware of a lot of this, but thank you for bringing this to the commissioner's attention. Very interesting information. Okay, anybody else do we have? That was only 4 people that we had, or anybody? Yeah, so we're all good? Okay, great. So we're gonna move on to superintendent's report. In light of the time at this point, can we ask the superintendent, we all, I think, had a chance to read the report. If you could just bring forth any main highlights that you'd like to bring to our attention, that would be great, just kind of in the interest of time.
Sure, you want to go first?
If you want to, yeah.
Okay, absolutely. So we had some challenges, obviously beach coverage, which was just kind of alluded to. Of our 57-day beach season, learners had coverage for all 57 days. Jacksonville had coverage for 18, and Washington had coverage for 24. Going to the youth control, I did have a long conversation with the border collie professional that came down and was visiting our beaches up to 10 times a week. Said that we were doing everything that we could possibly do, and we were doing everything right. And he thinks that continued harassment measures with, over the course of time, years, this will eventually get better.
Great.
Which is good news. And then I was going to run and Steve and all of the neighbors around Washington for keeping us abreast of everything that was going on the property. So some other challenges, cancer coverage, auxiliary police weren't around. We had to hire police details. That was an additional $4,000 that we didn't plan on spending that we now spent. Another challenge, keep pets. Really quickly, I have been working with Sudbury Parks and Recreation to try to get some full time at accidents and pools. I have and we so far try to make this happen and doing it as possible.
Not to throw a rock in it, but that's going down to be repaired.
I think it's hard to cost. Yeah. So it's going to keep the pool open during renovation. Positive beaches, we had a great season. We had a total of 6,784 visitors. That attendance was taken while we had staff on duty.
Right.
Again, they were free of charge for Framingham residents. Non-residents were not allowed. Concerts went really, really well. Probably no less than 350 to 400 people each night. Probably more than that. We had one rain out.
Yes.
We started community corner this time around. Butterworth, Danforth, Murphy, the Aqueduct and Arlington Street Parks. We brought the police, the fire, booster ambulance, the YMCA, Framingham State University also showed up, where we just had a big old drop-in playground type of situation. Everybody had a great time. We will be bringing that back next year. Framingham Includes All, which is our new inclusive programming, had a kickoff this last Saturday. We had some inclusive vendors there. Our staff was on site. We're walking people through the different opportunities that we'll be offering for them, as well as we were there to help them register for those programs. This past Sunday, we had our September 11th Remembrance Ceremony. It was the 21st anniversary of the event. Thank you for everybody that came by. This Saturday, we have a PAL basketball tournament going on here at Bowditch. Right now, we have 5 high school teams.
This is the comment. Can you just slow down a little
Sure,
bit?
sure.
People are picking up every word.
I'm
Yeah.
trying to fly.
And I know Elaine has a mask on.
Unfortunately, I have a mask on. My apologies. Shannon, do you need me to repeat any of it, or do you want to just keep going forward?
Sorry, I was typing and I don't know why. It's fine. Yeah, just, I know audio is kind of we're at the mercy of the technology. Just maybe try to speak at the speaker a little bit more, because it did clear up, but
No worries. What's up? I'm almost done. I'm sorry, guys. So PAL basketball, we have 5 high school teams, 8 adult teams, which will include police and fire departments, 2 middle school teams, a DJ, food vendor. Last year when we held this, we were at about 400 people. Hopefully it'll be a beautiful day this weekend and we'll be able to get that one off without a hitch as well. And then one last thing, I will be attending the Disability Commission meeting at the end of the month to ask for their support with our Framingham Includes All programming. And hopefully they will be able to give us some. There's my short and sweet.
Thank you so much for an awesome summer for the city of Framingham. You've done a great job and you're to be commended with under crazy circumstances between the beaches and the guards and everything.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you. Along with everything else.
All good.
Okay, gentlemen, would you
got
like
my
to
report.
motion to accept the report?
I'll make a motion to accept the report.
Wonderful.
Can I ask a question or are we not doing that now?
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, do we have any insights into the Framingham Includes All a day or session? Like, do we know where the folks came from who participated? Do we know anything about the demographics about participants and vendors?
So all of the participants that showed up, with the exception maybe 3 or 4, had pre-registered for the event. So I know exactly where they came from. As far as demographics, what part of the city, I think 90% of them were Framingham residents. The group is open to everybody. So obviously we are aiming towards getting as many Framingham residents as we can, but we are not going to turn others away as a social engagement type of activity for this population is severely lacking in the area, which is why we developed Framingham Includes All to begin with. The vendors that were there were inclusive athletic vendors. So they specialize in inclusion activities and offering them to participants.
All set?
All good, Shannon?
All right, yeah.
Okay. Ready to accept?
Yeah, I'll make a motion that we accept the report.
Hawk, yes.
Dako, yes.
Shannon?
Stevens, yes.
Open, yeah.
You're welcome.
So-
Now we'll go to Superintendent Courtney.
So just to keep this meeting interesting, so I originally had to put this on with my account, which was a 40-minute account. I have the wherewithal to switch it over for the next meeting. I didn't want to switch midway because I thought that might cause confusion for the posting. So I would ask people, we have about 3 minutes till we're going to run out of time. So maybe now's a good time if the audience in Zoom could just log out and log right back into the same link. We can kind of continue the meeting. I know that's a bit cumbersome and I apologize. We'll fix that for the next time. But in order to get through the next couple of reports, I think we're going to have to do that before people automatically get kind of kicked off. So, so if everyone could do that, I'm going to go ahead and start the meeting, and then we'll continue with the second half. Thank you.